I like
Okay,
your new opening.
I got a couple of them made. It just I got tired. I like the other one, but I got tired of it. Hey everybody in the chat, thank you for coming. For those of you that don't know me, I'll start off. I'm Deann. It's my channel, Shield Main Tarot, and I read on personal readings, politics, and paranormal because I love paranormal. And I found my buddy Tanya, who loves paranormal too. This is Tanya Stingley. If you don't know her, she has a channel called Tea Time with Tanya. It's great. It's awesome. And then below me here is Shari Voices from the Swamp. And she is going to tell us she lives in Louisiana. And I got to go there. We were
Down in
talking
the
backstage.
bayou.
And I got to go there once, and it was really cool. It was a whole nother world from Illinois, I'm telling you. But I loved it. It was really interesting. And so we're going to just talk about some experiences that Shari had down there. Now, when I went there, and please subscribe to her channel too, by the way, you guys. I got it in the chat. I
Please,
got
please,
it in the
please.
description box. And also Tanya's too, and mine too. I'm working on trying to get to 6,000, so I'd appreciate it. I think I got like 600 and something to go. So help me to get to
I'm working
6,000
on
because
trying to hit 5,000 by the end of the year. That's my goal. To hit 5,000 by the end
every
of the year.
thousand, I'm going to give away some free stuff, free readings and stuff like that. And
Cool.
I'm going to do a free giveaway today too. I've been practicing my little giveaway tool. And so I'm trying to let you guys all know about my oils. And the best way to let you know is to get you to try them. So that's another thing I wanted to tell you. I have a little shop called Manifest Shop USA. I put the USA so people know that I'm in the USA. I ship to the USA.
Fabulous oils.
Aren't
Fabulous
they great?
oils.
Yep, I got
And the lava
mine.
rocks.
And I'm
And I'm wearing
packaging
the
them real
lava rocks.
nice.
Yep.
I got little bags, little pink bags and black bags. I package them in now, and I got my little cards, and I'm making little
Oh
magnets so you
yeah,
can
they
put it
come
on
in
your
great. This
fridge.
is the bag it came in. This is
Oh,
the bag that my stuff came
I got.
in.
I gave you that one before I got the new ones. I've got now since my
Ah.
colors are pink and black. I've got pink and black, but I wanted to put it in a
Oh,
nice bag. So, and then I'm getting little things. I usually put little things in with it. And I even got shrink wrap now because I had one customer that said it leaked a little bit. I've not had anybody else, but the one time it did. So I bought me a machine to shrink wrap them so you don't have to worry about that. So whoever got that one bottle that leaked a little bit, that will not happen again. So I appreciate them telling me so I could fix it. So
absolutely.
anyway, so yeah, it's nice to know those things so that you can take care of it. But and then Tanya, she has all kinds of cool stuff. She's got her little sachets and her bath bombs, and they're the bomb. Yeah, those things, they smell amazing. So I'll just kind of give her a plug in there too because I love them. I have mine with me all the time, and I even have one I sleep with in my pillow because it's just smells that good. So it helps me sleep too.
Yeah.
So she's got them for everything. So anyway, and I got to tell you, Shari, your new site. I went to look. I hadn't looked at your page for a while. Man, you've done a good job on that page. You should look at this girl's. It's you look like she's standing out by the swamp, and she's got her hair
Have
all
you
long, and you have
do you
something
know
in
who
French.
Michelle Marie from Astrological Tarot is? Michelle
Who?
Marie from Michelle Marie from Astrological Tarot.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
She's
She's
a
the
Vedic
Vedic
astrology.
astrologer.
Yeah. She created the logo for me. We were talking one night and I said, yeah, I'm still trying to get a logo. I said, it's up here, but I can't get it translated onto paper or a screen. I'm just not artistic like that. And she said, well, send me an email and describe what you want and I'll play around with it. And I thought, okay. So a couple of days went by and I'm trying to figure out how to word what I want. And I get a message from her and she's like, is this what you were thinking about? And she sent me the picture. Of course, it
That
was
was
just a
awesome.
generic face in the picture. And I was like, holy crap, girl, what did you do? Reach in my brain and just pluck the picture out? That's what I was seeing for 3 years.
It was
That's the picture
amazing.
that's been in my head. And it was like, wow, I could not believe that
I need to get a hold of her, man. She's that talented. I
she's
know she's
very
talented.
reasonably priced. She's very reasonably priced with her artwork. She does readings and all kinds of stuff, you know. But
I know her. Yeah, she's a sweet,
she's
sweet
also
lady, and she's
an artist.
extremely intelligent.
I know it
She's
started
over
because
my
I was
head,
saying
though.
she had posted a picture of a dragon, and I collect dragons, and I saw it, and I was like, "Where did you find that picture? That's awesome!" And she said, "Oh, I created it." I'm like, "What do you mean you created it?" She says, "Well, I'm a digital artist." And I went, "Okay, we got to talk." I said, "Because I got a problem. I need a logo." And that's how the
Well,
conversation
she did
got going and
amazing
stuff.
because I
She did
looked
a
at him.
fabulous
Holy
job. I love it. And then I sent her some pictures of just my face so she could morph my face onto the picture
You
that
look very
she
witchy,
created.
very witchy. Very, it
That
was
was the whole
cool,
point.
cool witchy. So,
That was the whole
well,
point. Swamp witch, you know, kind of a swamp witch look. So
we're going to talk. I'm going to ask you some questions about stuff, but I got to tell you guys something about my friend Tanya here. She is my superhero friend. I always tell her she's a superhero because I don't know. You guys remember when I don't know if y'all remember when I told you when I was a little girl, I loved Bewitched. It was my favorite show. And when I was little, I would sit and look at my father's ashtray, one of those tall ashtrays, if you remember, they used to have. And I would sit there staring at that, thinking, if I could do like her, if I practiced hard enough, if I worked at it hard enough, I could levitate that ashtray and make it come to me. And I'd sit there like this, and I'd be, squinting my eyes, and I'd be trying real hard. And my mother would come in and say, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Nothing, nothing," and get up real quick. But Tanya actually showed me a video one time, and she actually showed me it is actually possible. Now, she ain't lifting in the big ashtrays yet, but I don't doubt she will. So I've got a video I want to show you guys that
I've seen
how
some
did you
people
do that?
levitate some stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, she can tell them how you got started doing that before I show them the
The
video,
wonderful thing
Tanya,
about Tanya is she takes a licking
and
and
how
keeps
that
on ticking. Because 3 years ago, I came across her on somebody else's channel and won a reading, and she did a reading on me that was spot on. It was like, okay, this woman's real, you know. And so yeah, that made a big impression.
yeah. Oh
Okay,
yeah.
so with the telekinesis, the way that I got started with that, I was like late night scrolling on TikTok, and I came across this guy who was spinning a psi wheel, and something it just locked me in, and I was like, I wonder if I could do that. So I made the little side wheel, stuck a little toothpick in the top of a little base, put the little piece of tinfoil in there, started looking at it and pointing at it. All of a sudden, things start spinning around, and I'm freaking myself out. Then I go on to I went into the YouTube telekinesis wormhole, and I found this man called Sean McNamara, and I have done every single one of his videos. I have done his every single video that he has on YouTube. I have watched and practiced along with him, and with his, I guess, guidance, I have moved from one little piece of tinfoil to the biggest thing that I can move, that I can control movement of, is a basketball. When I'm outside shooting baskets in my basketball hoop, if it goes across the fence in the street, I can stop that basketball and make it come back to me instead of
That is
rolling down the street. I can
that is
That's
stop it.
awesome.
Yeah. So, but it's really interesting because, and I don't want to sound like I'm bragging or anything, because it is hard. Telekinesis is, it takes a lot of dedication to sit, because I literally will sit for hours just trying to get something to vibrate. So it takes a lot of, I don't know if it's craziness or dedication, but you kind of get out of it what you put in it. But the one thing that I want to say to everybody out there is that every single one of us is capable of telekinesis. Every one of us
Absolutely.
is capable. You just have to find the right key and the right lock, and then you can
Well,
unlock that.
as the Oracle said to Neo in the Matrix, you want to know something else that'll bake your noodle? Watch this. So yeah, I've seen
Well,
people
I
do
wasn't
some
wrong then
amazing
when I was
things.
a little girl. I wasn't wrong when I was a little
No,
girl. I just was starting out trying to a heavy old ashtray. So I'm going to show you guys. I got to show you. So let's see if
maybe if
I can
you'd
do this.
started out with a cigarette butt, it might would have worked better. They hardly say
Maybe.
anything, you know.
But when she showed me that, she probably thought I was nuts because I went, ah! And she's like, what? I'm like, oh, I can't believe you did that, you know, because I've always believed in that telekinesis and all that. Is that what it's called? Telekinesis, or is telekinesis
Mhm.
the mind to mind?
Telekinesis.
Telekinesis.
Okay,
Yeah.
what is it called when people read each other's minds? That's
Telepathy.
something else. Telepathy. Yeah, I always get those
Telepathy
two
or
mixed up.
telepathic, one or the other, depending
Hey,
on what tense you're
Vivian.
using.
I just got to say hi to some people. You guys, you know, I'm not no good at typing in here. So I just want to say hi to some of you because I'm terrible at
Holy
typing.
moly, I
In
got a
fact, my
bunch in here.
typewriters, my type thing's on the floor because I have such little room here. Hey, Vivian. Hi, Vivian. Hi, Blue. Hi, Gina. Who else we got in here? Colorful Foresights in here. Jamie, Christian, A-Dub, Grandma K. See here. If I missed you, I'm sorry. Hey, is it Ella? How do you pronounce that? Eleva? Eleva? Eleva. That's a
Eleva.
different. Eleva. Okay.
Eleva.
Mimi Rose. Hey, Mimi Rose. I love Mimi Rose. She's a sweetie pie. So thank you all for coming. So I'm going to go ahead and put that on real quick, and then we're going to talk about some stories. So let's see if I can get this to go. All right. So share screen. Share screen. I'm going to first do, you may do the Facebook one or the TikTok one first?
Whichever one you want to
Whichever
do.
you want.
Okay, so we'll do the TikTok one first. And okay, share. And I got to turn it on. Got it under glass. She's got a mask on, so she can't be moving it with her breath, so you can't think it's her breath. These are like, were those dollar bills?
No, that's a mixture. Some of them are tinfoil, some of them are cardstock, and some of them are just notebook paper. So it's all different weights and textures of materials. So this one I don't have the dollar bill on the other one. I have the dollar bill on there, but there may be a dollar bill spinning off camera.
Okay, let me show you the other one here. Hold on. Okay, share screen.
Wait, was that you, Tanya, doing that?
And we'll do, I think that was a TikTok
Was that Tanya
one.
doing that?
Yeah, that's me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I see your eyes now. I
Okay.
can tell. Okay. I could see your eyes in the other picture, so I didn't know.
Yeah, that's me.
You got $1 there, I see. Do you have to point at them? You're not pointing at them. You just
No,
kind of
I don't.
thinking
I
it.
don't have to point at them anymore. I can. I
Now
actually.
they just
I
don't
had to.
move.
You did it first, didn't you?
Yeah, at first I had to use my hands. I had to charge the energy in my hands. I don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah.
I can stare at it.
There, that dollar's moving. I wish I could blow it up bigger and show you bigger, everybody bigger.
That's as big as it'll let it go on.
Oh, there,
on
I see that
TikTok.
one. It looks like it's almost. See that? Yep, the dollar you got spin around. There's that aluminum piece, and you're wearing the mask so people know that you're not blowing on it, or it's not just your
I
breath.
like that mask.
I have one like that too, tie dye.
Mm-hmm. I had one and it
So now, how do
disappeared.
you do this? Now, tell us how you do it. You know,
To start with, I just try to
while you're watching that, is it just
I form a relationship literally with whatever medium I use. I have a little spell that I say when I'm starting, if I'm having a problem getting them moving. I say, everything that is represented there, I'll say in my spell. And my spell goes, paper, plastic, tin, and pen. I am one with you. And I'll just keep repeating that. And as I set up the mediums, I'm touching and fondling the money, the card stock, and everything, kind of charging it with my energy. And then I focus on it, and eventually it'll move. I have a feather. You see the feather on top of the rock there? That is the closest that I've gotten to levitating. I've gotten the feather, but I have to use my hands, and I do this. But I do it in front of the feather, not over the top of it. I do it away so it is not the wind. And I've got the feather to get to jump up about a half an inch, but I haven't got it to where I can hold it in the air. But I can make it. I can make the feather jump up. I just can't make it levitate yet.
Yeah, if you watch the yogis and the
that is so cool.
And the Hindus and stuff that do that kind of thing, I mean, that's something they start doing it from the time that they're old enough to reason. They're being taught how to do that kind of stuff, and it's amazing the things that they can levitate or move, or the hot rocks that they walk over.
Well, there was a
mind over
there
matter.
is a Catholic priest
Yeah.
called there's a Catholic priest that I read about. His name is Padre Pio, and he used to be able to, he had the stigmata, and he was able to levitate off the ground. People had seen him levitate off the
Yeah.
ground, and he was able to know, like, when people did their confession, if they were telling the truth or not telling them everything. But there are some few people that have gotten stigmata and that they have levitated, and lots of people have seen it. He's known for that. I read a book about him. That was really interesting. So I think Colorful Foresight said this telekinesis, it's important. If humanity go into MBO, transformed enlightened state, going forward is important. We want people to utilize energy, most benevolent outcome. What's MBO, transformed enlightenment? Do you know, Tanya? Can you explain that? Does she know?
I don't.
I don't either. But I do feel like that we all have, I feel like we all have powers. We all do. I think they say we use like 10% of our brain. So what could we do if we start tapping into the rest of it? And I think that they try to keep us from tapping into the rest of it. I was listening to this thing, and I don't know, you guys, it may be wrong, but they were talking about the lead paint. When they said they got rid of lead paint because they said that, the kids are eating paint chips. They said, well, how many kids have you ever seen eating paint chips? They said they got rid of the lead paint, or they tried to get people to take it out, because when you have something in lead, the rays, like your 5G,
Lead,
all that stuff.
lead paint blocks radiation. Lead
Yes,
paint blocks a whole lot of bad shit from coming into your house. So of
yes.
course they'll tell you that lead paint, that children are eating lead paint so that you'll
Mhm.
remove it from your house so that you can be irradiated. The things that they are using to disconnect us from source, the main thing is fluoride. The
Yeah,
second thing that they do is they told everybody, don't be in the sun. Don't look at the sun. Don't go out in the sun without putting sunblock on your body. They were cutting you off from source again. The sun is like you plugging in to your wall battery. Your eyesight
Yeah.
improves when you sun gaze. Your health and cells regenerate when you are out in the sun. If you were out in the sun for the amount of time that you're supposed to, nobody would have a vitamin D deficiency.
right. And everybody does now because people aren't
Yes.
going out. And especially since the pandemic, people stay in the house more,
But
and
you have to understand
everybody's getting low vitamin D.
everything that they try to cut us off from is something that is beneficial to us.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, they said they have
Yeah.
EMF paint, and they have lead paint still that you can get, and it actually protects you. Especially, I mean, like I said, who's going to let their kids go eating paint chips? I've never heard of, some of the stuff is
Well, I think
crazy,
most of that
but
came from
yeah, they said,
kids used to hang on the windowsills and stuff and they'd chew because they were teething and they would chew on like the
mm-hmm,
windowsills or the door frames or something. And it was making them
or
sick
maybe don't
because
paint that
it's
part.
not something, yeah, it was just a matter of readjusting what you painted where, you know.
Right,
Um,
right. I think so too. And they talked about too, they were talking about that and EMF, that things that we should put on our phones and put on our earphones because how much radiation you get. Cause I listen to my earphones a lot, and there's a lot of
oh, I
radiation
live
coming
with
from
earbuds
COVID.
in all the time.
Yeah. So tell us now, I'm sitting here gabbing. Tell me about your Louisiana experiences. I want to know.
Well, I first knew I was psychic, I guess, when I was about 4. Um, and I would hear a man talk to me, deep bass voice, think Darth Vader voice, and just talk to me. And I would talk back, and somebody'd walk in the room and be like, "Who are you talking to?" And I think God. And they'd say, "Okay." And they would leave it at that. And then when I was 9, we went to Florida for the first time. And we arrived in the middle of the night at a friend's house. And when I walked through the front door, I stopped right in the doorway and I went, "Oh, I've been here before." And everybody was like, "No, we've never been here before." And I'm like, "Yeah, this room is here and this room is here and this is so and so's room and this is what's in that room." I described the whole house. And I remember my mother just
Wow.
looked at me and went, "Okay, you've got the gift." And that's all she said. It was never discussed, never explained, nothing. And throughout my life, it would come peeking out of the closet when I would get really kind of frustrated with stuff. And but mostly I tried to pretend it didn't exist just because it kind of scared me. I didn't understand it, and there wasn't anybody to ask about it. There weren't TV
Mm-hmm.
shows on about it except for Bewitched or I Dream of Jeannie. That was the extent of
Right.
anybody with magical powers. And then it wasn't until I guess around the early 2000s when internet radio and stuff first started up and the first ghost hunters shows started.
I love it.
And I got real into watching those. And
Me
it
too.
was like the minute I did, boy, that door started swinging wide open and I didn't know what to do with it. I kept shoving everything back in the closet like I don't want to deal with you right now. Um, but that's kind of been my journey. And then 6 months before the pandemic hit, that's when my mom passed. And so I was not in a good headspace at that point in time and stumbled upon our wonderful community on YouTube. And people started hitting me with, "You're psychic, right?" I'm like, "You don't know me from Adam. How can you say that?" And they were like, "No, no, you're psychic. You just You just got to let it flow. And I was like, okay. So, and the minute I started accepting it, things started happening. And it's slowly been getting stronger. The mediumship has slowly been waking up. That's the most recent things that have started happening is the visions. My mother used to get visions and she hated it. But in this last few months, I've started to get visions and it's kind of freaky. Um, I literally had to tell my guides,
What's
no
it
more
like?
down. It's almost like
What are your
seeing,
visions of? Like,
it's been like I saw the coronation of William, Prince William. I saw him getting coronated and becoming king. And it felt like it was going to happen soon. But I mean, I was doing something and it's almost like a like somebody puts a three-dimensional but kind of see-through movie in front of your face. It's like you see everything else that's in the room around you because you can see through it, but you just get this vision of something happening, and just a few other little things, just stuff around the house or at work that I would just kind of see and be like, okay, that's kind of weird. And then it would happen, and I'd be like, okay, that's really kind of weird. So, but it's only happened a few times. So, William's coronation is the strongest thing I've had. I saw him and Catherine getting crowned king and queen. So, um, I have a feeling that's going to be fairly soon, probably within the next year.
they
Is what
say
I've been
that
feeling.
they're thinking Prince Harry may end up being the next king. It would be who is it? Who's the
Yeah,
guy? Nostradamus predicted that it would be something
yeah,
like
yeah,
that. That there would be some
yeah.
unexpected. So I
I
wondered.
I predict that Archie is going to be the last king of England, but I don't see Harry on the throne. Something tragic is going to happen to William and his whole bloodline. It's going to be terrible.
Archie, is that his son? I
Archie
don't
That's
is
follow that.
Harry's son.
Harry. Archie is Harry's son.
Oh, okay,
They
okay.
say there's talk now that maybe not.
Archie is
At
Really?
Harry's
first,
son.
yeah,
Archie is
I don't
Harry's
believe it,
son.
but there's talk that they were born of surrogates and it's not actually his blood. I don't know. You
That's
hear all kinds
all.
of weird
Those are
crap
all
on the.
lies, and that's just people who do not want them children to be half black, and that's all that is. That is pure
Yeah,
racism.
exactly. And it's like, yeah, it's ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, I've seen William and Catherine getting crowned, and I feel like it's going to be probably within the year. Um, I don't know if King Charles actually dies or if he just steps aside because his health, he just can't do it anymore. Because his health is a lot worse than they're letting on. That's what I've gotten. That's what I've gotten when I've meditated. That's what I've gotten when I've thrown cards on it. Um, but
Sherry says she also felt that way about Archie.
yeah, and
What you doing now?
Oh, I just threw on will Prince Charles die? Will King Charles die on the throne? And I got a yes on that. So he won't step down before William takes office. He will die on the throne.
yeah. See, and I never got that clearly. It was always very,
And it's coming
very
soon.
shifting. It was very shifting. Every
This
time
this is
I've
coming
drawn on that.
soon. This is near.
And but anyhow,
Yes.
to get back to the ghosties and goblies around here, um, growing up in the South, I mean, every place you turn around backwards, there's a haunted place right there. So it was not unusual to walk down the street and see things in old empty houses that you shouldn't have seen. You just kind of see it, and it, like I said, that kind of stuff freaked me out when I was a kid. I didn't enjoy it at all. When I was I think I was 11, 10 or 11. We were living in Florida at the time, North Florida. And we lived in this apartment. And it was like an office strip set that had been turned into apartments. And our apartment was kind of in the middle. And the back bedroom that was me and my brother stayed ice cold in there all the time. Didn't matter how hot it was, nothing. The temperature never changed. And neither my brother nor I would go in that room. I couldn't, I would go in there and I would just get freaked out. And we would all sleep with my mom in her room. And I have one of those big stuffed lassie dogs that's like sits up. And we'd find that dog all over the place in the mornings and when we get up, not where we had left it. Um, Once we found it in the locked car outside, and it was like, how the hell did it get in the car outside when my brother and I didn't have keys to the car or anything. Um, I think one of the freakiest times was one morning my mother woke up early and boxes taken down from the top of a linen closet that my brother nor I could have reached and brought down were stacked end on end at the foot of the bed with that dog sitting on top looking down at us. That was freaky. And it was a couple of weeks later. Um, and I don't remember where my brother was. I think he had gone to my grandparents for a couple of weeks. And it was just me and my mom, and I was the room was like a it was like a big rectangle, and uh, one side was like a hallway, that front door, back door, and then there was the living room, the dining room, and then the kitchen. It was just kind of laid out in strips, but it was one long rectangular room. And I was sitting on the sofa so I could look straight into and see the kitchen. And my mother had turned around to get something out of the refrigerator. And she opened the refrigerator door. And when she did, I saw something punch her in the chest. You could see her whole body cave in from the punch.
Out of the
And threw her
refrigerator?
all out of the refrigerator and threw her all the way against the back wall. Now, she and I were the only two people
Wow.
in the house. Wasn't much longer after that we moved, but there was, I don't know what kind of spirit it was that was there or what, but it did not like my mom at all, and would pinch her and hit her and poke her, and she'd wake up with scratches and all kinds of stuff on her. Um, and it would just freak me out. But it never really messed with my brother. It never messed with me really, except for that stuffed dog. um, but it would attack my mom, and it was really kind of freaky.
Was it an
Um,
old house?
it was it used to be like an office suite strip. It was like four or
Mm.
five offices in a row, and they had converted them into apartments. And so each old office was an apartment. We found out later that the one we were in used to be a doctor's office, and that someone had died in that back room. That was his exam room. Don't know. I never heard the rest of the story. That's just what I heard overhearing the grown-ups talk. Um, but that was after we had moved out. And so I just I just remember my mother opening that refrigerator door and then seeing her whole chest just kind of like cave in, like if somebody just punched you right
So what did
in
she
the
do?
chest.
Did she just ignore it and did it happen again or did she?
She never got hit like that again that I'm aware of, at least not around me. But she would be, and it had been going on for months. She would get pinched and scratched and poked, and she'd be walking and stumble because something would push her, but there wasn't anybody there. Like I said, it
That'd be
didn't.
dangerous if there were steps.
Wow.
Yeah, well, fortunately, it was flat. It was all flat, but it was just freaky. I mean, I was 10, 11, something like that. So I mean, I was just a kid, and it was just freaky
It
as
would be
hell to
freaky.
see this thing happened to my mom over and over and over again. And then the big thing happened when she got punched real hard. And like I said, it wasn't long after that we moved. Um, she was like, get the hell out of Dodge. Um, but none of the other people that I can remember, I never heard anybody else talk of anything happening in their units. You know, it was like 5 apartments that they had, 5 offices that they had converted into apartments. And I never heard anybody else say anything. None of the other kids ever said anything. But when they would come over to my house to like play with me, none of them would go in the back room. It was like nobody would go in the back room. It was like, nope, not going. They didn't know why. They just
Blue
knew they
says,
didn't want to go back. And
Blue said, I was looking at apartments that used to be 100-year-old orphanage, and I was like, nope.
yeah,
I can see why. I wish I would have gotten some videos. I was so busy today. I wanted to get some videos, you guys, on Marie Laveau and some of the in things
yeah.
there. There's a lot of, I don't know if you've heard about it, but there's her people go to her grave and sometimes see her walking
She was
around
a
there.
voodoo queen.
And
Yeah, she was
yeah,
a
can you
very
tell
very
people about
powerful
her?
voodoo queen. Um,
She was a
Original
hairdresser,
voodoo.
wasn't she? She did
I don't know
hair,
what
I
she
think,
was in
too.
real life. I just knew her
Mm-hmm.
as a voodoo queen. People would go to her for tinctures and medicines and crystals and sachets and all this kind of stuff for protection, or to help them get a job, or to help them do whatever. Original voodoo is not what it is in the movies and on TV that you see. It's not
It's a
evil.
religion.
It doesn't turn people into zombies. It was created and designed by a very powerful medicine woman down in South Central America area, is where they've kind of backtracked it to, and she did it as a means of protection for her children and her grandchildren. And she would make the little dolls and give them to them so that they would have the protection. That doesn't stop somebody from taking a little doll and turning it into something bad. You can turn
But
anything good into something bad, you know.
it
Um,
says here that accounts say that after her first husband's death, Marie became a hairdresser to keep her family afloat. It was
yeah,
through this hairdressing business that she learned secrets of wealthy households by giving gifts to the slaves living there.
yeah. And she was very powerful. She was a very powerful woman. Like I said, she was what the Cajun people would have called a traiteur, which is very much like a medicine woman, um, medicine man, like you see in Native American groups. She was a healer, and but she also made a point of, if somebody pissed her off or if somebody hurt someone she loved, she would use some of that power that she had to put a spell against them, so to speak. And
Well, it says folklore. Here's what
at
I was
least
trying to tell you.
that's what we've always been told down here
Well,
when
it
they
says
talk about
folklore. This is what I was talking about. The video I wanted to put up. It says
it.
folklore tells that if people want Marie Laveau to grant them a wish, they had to draw an X on her tomb. If their wish was granted, they had to return to circle the X and leave an offering. Because folklore suggests Laveau was a hairdresser at one time. People leave bobby pins and hair ties in front of her tomb as
Hmm.
offerings. Did you see that?
And
Have you seen that?
she's been. I've never seen it. I've never been to her graveside. That's
Really?
over in New Orleans. That's like 2.5 hours east of me. So, that's kind of a day trip if I go over there. And I haven't been to her graveside. I've been to some places in New Orleans that will certainly kind of creep you out. Just And I've seen
There's
people in the evening times walking around that I'd swear on a stack of Bibles were real vampires. They just something about them and the look they had. It was like, okay, these aren't people pretending to be vampires, you know. These are real
Well, they
vampires.
do have kind of zombies, from what I heard. What they are is they had something that they would give people that would put them in such a deep sleep that would slow down their heartbeat. Have you ever heard of this, Tanya? It would slow down their heartbeat so much that they would appear as dead. And I forget what they would be almost in a zombie state, but they weren't
That's
part
of the
dead.
reason
But they
why
could.
when you go to old graveyards, you will see bells and stuff attached to the headstones because they would run a rope down into the coffin so that if the person wasn't really dead and they woke up, they could ring the bell and they would come dig them up, supposedly.
Yes.
Um, Now, I don't know if anybody ever actually did that or not. I know that um, in some of the countries, like in Romania and Czechoslovakia and some of those countries, for areas where vampires are said to have originated and come from, that when they kill a vampire, they will do certain things to their gravesite, like on the
They put
coffin,
bars
above
over
the
it.
coffin, in the ground. They do all kinds
Hmm.
of. They have all kinds of rituals that they do to keep them from being able to rise again.
Yeah.
Is the
They did
reason
that
why.
during
Um,
smallpox. They did that during smallpox. When people had smallpox, they would they thought
yeah,
that because the rest of the family got it, they thought that the first one that died was coming back and giving it to them or taking their blood or whatever. So what they would do is they would go and dig up the first sibling or whatever, and they would take their heart out of them and burn it. And they would actually
yeah,
put bars over some of the things. In Transylvania, they did that to make sure they didn't come out of the grave.
yeah.
Did you guys ever see American Horror Story, the one about Louisiana? There was
No,
a
I didn't
slave
see
house
that one.
there, and I saw it there. I didn't get to go inside, but we drove past it, and I didn't know it was a real live place. But it's a famous slave house in New Orleans, and this house where the slaves were tortured at the hands of Delphine Lalaurie. If you've read anything about the ghosts and hauntings in New Orleans, there's no doubt that you've heard about the Lalaurie Mansion. It's one of the most popular stops on New Orleans
Hmm.
ghost tours. And it says many people ask us if you can tour the Lalaurie Mansion. While you cannot go inside, if you join us on Ghost Tour, you'll I don't think you can visit the haunted house. And but it says when firefighters entered the home to extinguish the flames, they uncovered unspeakable horrors in the attic. Madame La Laurie already had the reputation for mistreating her slaves. However, what rescuers found in the attic that night revealed outright torture, mutilation of at least 7 people. And she would do things like put the blood on her face to keep her, but that place is still there.
There was
And I
there
watched
was. Go ahead, finish up.
Oh, I said I drove by that, and I'm like, oh my God, that place is real, from American Horror Story.
Yeah,
Chris Kathy Bates played her in American
yeah.
Horror Story, and I didn't
And
know
she's
that
good
this
at
was a
playing those
real
kind of
live
characters.
place.
Yeah.
She's so good,
Um,
but yeah, she played bad on
in
this.
I want it was either Croatia or Romania. I don't remember now which country. There was a countess, duchess, something like that. She was high royalty who literally had her slaves who worked for her would go in search of young beautiful girls to bring them to her
Mhm.
home to supposedly um
Bathe in their
offer
blood.
them yeah, she would bleed them to death so that she could bathe in their blood because she believed that that's what
Sick
kept her young.
people. But that made
Yeah,
me think that
real
that
sick people.
street has to be haunted. That area, that house has to be haunted. I
There's
would be
not
afraid
hardly
to go there.
anywhere you can go in New Orleans that's not haunted. simply
Have you ever
because
been?
of, oh, we used my late husband when the last year he was alive. His doctors were in New Orleans, so every month we had to go to New Orleans to see his doctors, get his medication, and we had to walk by one of the creepiest churches I've ever had to walk by in my life. It was an old Catholic church, like one of those Gothic cathedral dark type places. It's been giving me the heebie-jeebies just to walk by the thing. And then we would go, and during the day it wasn't so bad, but when we would finish at the clinic and everything and leave to go back home, we had to walk a good 4 blocks to get to where the parking tower was. And yeah, we had to walk right by that church every day that we were there. And it was terrifying. I mean, at nighttime,
We
it
went during the
would
day.
freak me out big time. But there's hardly anywhere you can go in New Orleans that's not haunted. A lot of that has to do with the type of slave trade that was there. You had the original ports of New Orleans and whatnot were all based on piracy and the pirates. You had a lot of pirates that was their area to come in and load and unload and get goods to the rest of the country and whatnot. Um, so New Orleans was built on top of a lot of really sketchy and very cruel people who, because of, unfortunately, because of the way most of the South was back then, their livelihood, their ability to make money and whatnot was dependent upon the slave population because they didn't have to pay slaves. So they weren't having to pay for labor to work in the yards or work in the fields or work in the house. Or Chloe, who from the and now I'm going to go blank on the plantation, one of the most haunted plantations down here, and there was a slave maid named Chloe who worked. She was a housemaid, and so her job was to help cook and clean, take care of the daughters and the wife, see to their needs and whatnot. Now, there's been talk that there was, hanky panky going on the side with her and the mister, which happened a whole hell of a lot, um, especially back then. And um, she got caught eavesdropping on one of his meetings with his Myrtle's plantation. Thank you, Aileen. I went blank. I couldn't remember it. She got caught eavesdropping on one of the master's conversations with his fellow, contemporaries, and he cut off her ear for it, um, because that to
Oh my
him was
God.
proper punishment. And at that point, he pretty much sealed his family's fate because within a couple of months, it was one of the children's birthdays or something. And she made this big to do about she baked them this cake and all this stuff to celebrate their birthday. Well, she poisoned the cake. It killed both children and the mother, almost killed
Wow.
him. And she was hung for what was done. She's still there at the Myrtles plantation. There have been pictures up to just a year ago of people that, they go there. You can rent rooms to have like weddings or parties and stuff. You can go on ghost
I want
tours
one
and
there.
whatnot there. And you'd be amazed at the people that want to go to a plantation to hold their wedding. I can understand
Why?
it's beautiful architecture, beautiful grounds, all the big old oak trees and the moss and everything is very aesthetically just hauntingly beautiful to look at. But then when you stop and you take a breath and realize what has soaked into the ground there, it's like, no, 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 no. You really don't want to start your marriage off on that kind of a, foundation. That just doesn't ring right for me. Um, I have not ever been inside the plantation. I've been by it. I've seen it. But I know people who have been in there who have had experiences. Um, but there's, so there's Chloe, that was her name. Um, and she's still there, and there's big people still get pictures of her, full body apparitions of her, standing on the porch off the kitchens in the back, and that kind of thing. Um, because very
Well, she's probably
rarely
afraid to move on after what she did. I would
exactly
be if I was that evil.
back
Spirit
in
beyond the
back
stars
in
says.
that time. The kitchens were not attached to the main house, because if there was a fire in the kitchen, they didn't want the house to burn down. So the kitchens were usually a separate building, kind of set away from the house for them to do all the cooking and the prepping and everything. There would be a series of different types of rooms where they would store vegetables and potatoes and whatnot, rooms where they would do all the canning and the preparing of foods, and rooms where they would do all the cooking and whatnot. And there were usually either walkways, or depending on where the location was at, there would be tunnels that the slaves would go through to bring the food from the kitchens into the house to serve, for the dinner and whatnot. Um, so it wasn't
Tunnels?
like you just went through the other door. So you have tunnels that they say are very haunted in and around. Chloe's been seen in walkways in the kitchen. She's been seen in the main house in the dining room area, looking out the windows. Um,
It
but
sounds
she's
like
been
it was a
seen
lot
down
of
there.
terrible things, terrible
It
things that
was.
happened in
It,
Louisiana
it was
back in those
horrendous
days.
the way slaves were treated down here. There's no excuse for the
Have you ever
kind of
been there,
atrocities.
Tanya?
To Louisiana, yes. I have family there.
Have you been to Louisiana? Have you ever seen Marie Laveau's
What part?
grave?
No, I haven't seen the grave. I've got family in Shreveport. I've got
Okay, that's North Louisiana, or
still
kind of central,
Louisiana.
really. Yeah.
and my
It's a little
grandparents are
bit
from
different. It's
Louisiana.
Yeah, you start getting central and North Louisiana, it's almost like you go into another country. It's a little different than it is down in the bottom of the boot in the swamp. Um, so just the cultures kind of change a little bit. Um, Down here where I was born and raised, you have your Cajun people and your Creole people. Um, a lot of people mix them up and think they're the same, but they're not. Um, Cajun people were,
I don't know what the difference is.
yeah, Cajun people originated from France. Um, they were basically kicked out of France
It's like
because
my
of
Cajun
their
chef.
extreme religiosity with Catholicism. And then from there, they went to
Okay.
Canada. And then from Canada, they were run out of town again because they such extreme beliefs. And they basically just went down the Mississippi till they hit the Gulf and said, okay, we're here. And that was about it. Your Creole people are more of a Haitian and Spanish mix to the French. And they're more over in the New Orleans area. And all of that area is more of your Creole, where Cajun is a little bit more on the western side of the state. Um, and they're very similar, but they're also very different. And you don't call a Cajun a Creole or a Creole a Cajun. You could get shot for that. Just they get
Really?
very active about.
What if you're
Oh
somebody
yeah,
like me from Illinois who knows nothing? I wouldn't call them
They don't
anything but
care.
their name. So I
Well,
would
it's
Yeah.
kind of it's easy. Creoles are brown. Creoles are brown.
Cajuns are white.
Cajuns
Yeah,
are white.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Exactly.
I didn't know.
And then
I've never heard of that.
you have the mulattoes, who were a mix of both. Um, a lot of those women, especially if they had very light skin,
Mhm.
some even managed to pass as white and marry into families, rich families. A lot of them became the mistresses and whatnot of the rich plantation owners because
Wow. Not a
they
history.
weren't as dark as the slave hands, but they weren't as pristine
I've
white
heard
as
of
the
that
wife.
kind of
And
stuff.
they were kind of in between. So yes.
The quadroons and the octoroons, and they had a whole quarter down there to where the young ladies would
Oh,
be
and
prostituted and kept by wealthy landowners, and their children, their biracial children, would actually be educated in Europe
mhm,
as free
Really?
citizens. Yes.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So this, Tanya,
And my
this was the
brother
what
just
is a quadroon? I'm sorry, what
A
is a quadroon?
quadroon,
What'd you call it?
that's how much African blood you have in you. So a quadroon would be a
Okay.
quarter black. An octoroon would be an eighth black. So that it's just breaking it
Oh,
down into fractions.
yeah, yeah. It's
okay.
the
So
same
these
with
ones that
Native
were
American culture. You have to have so much percent of Native American blood in order to legally claim that you're Native American. Um, my brother just informed me, and I didn't know this. But up until about 100 years ago, Cajun people weren't considered white either. They were considered a different race because most Cajun people
We're
have a
French.
lot of Native American blood mixed in with them as well. And we tend to be darker than most regular white people, and we're not as dark as the Creoles, but we're not as white as the white people, so we're kind of in between.
I got
It's
my
like I
lights
go
off. I look like
outside,
a ghost.
15 minutes outside, and I'm 2 shades darker from wherever my sleeve lines hit, just I tan like that. And most people, most of your Cajun and your Creole people are like that. They just, it's the way the the what is it, the melatonin in their skin,
Melanin.
Melanin.
melanin, thank you,
Hmm.
in their skin, the amount of it depends on how fast or slow you would tan, or if you would even tan at all. I mean, there are some people, because they're so European based, that they don't tan at all. They just get red and burn. You know, that's just the way it is. Yeah. See,
That's me.
Deann
That's
is
me.
Deann is like white.
I'm Scandinavian
Tanya
and
and me
Irish,
are
and
on the
yeah.
other end of the spectrum. Um, but yeah, I mean, they up until about probably about 40 years ago or so. I know when my mom was in school, when she was in elementary school and stuff, you weren't allowed to speak Cajun. Um, it was you would get punished for it. You certainly couldn't speak it in school. Um, so most there's like an entire generation that almost lost the language completely because they were not allowed to speak it. The only place they heard it was at home, but they had to learn English and they had to learn to do everything in English. And the only thing that more or less saved the language, and pretty much the same for the Creole language as well, was the Cajun music and Zydeco music because it's all sung in Cajun or Creole French. And so you have to know the language in order to sing the songs. And that's what kind of persevered. And then people finally woke up enough to realize, yeah, we can't, it's not right for us to try to destroy an entire race of people's language because we don't like it, So they actually we just had a new center open up on campus that's all around. They offer classes and all kinds of research and stuff you can go and do to research the Cajun and the Creole people and the languages and the music and all that kind of
Oh,
stuff. It's really great. Louisiana is
Joe
still
says,
predominantly Catholic. It is still
yeah.
predominantly Catholic. Um, and uh, they're not quite as extreme about it as they were back in the day when they came down the Mississippi. But there's also a very large evangelical base that has grown down here. So, but people come down here and they go by any graveyard and they see all the graves above ground, big marble slabs or concrete slabs, whatever, and it's all above ground. And that's because we're either at or below sea level down here. So when you try to dig a hole to bury somebody, a couple months later, they pop back to the surface because there's too much water in the ground. The coffin will come back
Oh,
up.
wow.
When
Vivian
Katrina
says,
came through,
oh, I was just looking at
yeah,
Vivian. I was warned on the first day, had doubts, but came into enlightenment on the second.
yeah,
Uh, and you were-
absolutely. When Katrina came through, um, the worst of the storm actually hit Mississippi, not Louisiana. Louisiana got
that's where
so
we went,
hard hit because the
Mississippi.
levees broke. The levees failed. That's what destroyed New Orleans and all that area. But Katrina actually most of the damage was in Mississippi. And after the storm passed, they were they were picking up coffins and skeletons littered up and down the beach from some of the nearby cemeteries that got inundated with storm
Mhm.
surge.
I
And
heard about that.
it just brought it all up. But that's why you see so many of the old graveyards. Um, the the coffins, they're either in a mausoleum or they're in a marble or concrete slab grave that's above the ground because you couldn't put them in the
Oh,
ground; they'd pop right back up again. Um, yes, Cajun French
oh,
is still very
horrifying.
fluent down here. Um, there's been a big push in the last 40 years, I would say, to reteach the language. There's all kinds of classes and stuff. They have French immersion in K through 12 grades, where students will go to school and that's all they will speak is Cajun French. That's what they learn. Um, so it's good to see the culture being revitalized. It's the same with the Creole culture. It's like people finally woke up enough to realize, hey, these are marvelous cultures that brought so much riches to the society as a whole, just in the differences of what they had, that it's just criminal to try to erase it. Um, but like I said, we just opened a new center on our own campus. They restored one of the old Victorian homes that was like across the street from one section of our campus, and they bought the land and the house and they completely restored it back to how it was in the 1800s. So that's how the house looks now on the inside. And it's all historical on the Cajun and the Creole and the language, the music, the way they cooked, the way they dressed, the way they did things. It's really a really very good job they did at putting that all back together and trying to revitalize it. Um, but yeah, I mean, on campus, like the building I work in, we were built on top of an Indian uh, burial ground, um, a Native American burial mound. The building that I work in, there's always things that you catch out of the corner of your eye, and strange humps and bumps and noises that you hear. I know I've had
Well, Joyce said, I have a
some
reprint of
people,
a book published before
yeah, yeah. There's all kinds
I was
of
just
down
reading what
here.
her comments there.
The 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 Cajun word for medicine man or medicine woman is called a traiteur, um, and that's what they do. Is that's their magic. They're healers. Um, and I actually witnessed We had a tree terror that lived next door to us and didn't even know it when my son was in second grade, third grade, something like that. And one afternoon, he started complaining that his ear hurt and went to check, and he was running a high fever. And so we were like, running around trying to get all his stuff together, take him to the emergency room. And here she goes from next door knocking on the door, wanting to borrow, I don't know, it was a cup of sugar or an egg or something. And, my husband was like, yeah, I did. It's in the kitchen. Help yourself. We got to get to the emergency room. And she said, oh, is your little boy sick? And we said, yeah, he's complaining of an earache and he's running a fever. We got to get him to the ER. And she said, well, do you mind if I pray over him? And my husband and I at that point were not believers in anything. And we were both, yeah, whatever, just make her happy while we're trying to get everything together to go to the ER. And she sat down with him in her lap and she laid his head down in her lap and she started rubbing her hands together. And then she put her hands over the side of his head and his ear. And she started, it wasn't Cajun French because I would have recognized it. But she was speaking in tongues. She was speaking in light language. And she just started this sing-song kind of prayer thing and just kind of rubbing the side of his head and his ear. And she did this for like 5 minutes. And we're just kind of watching her thinking, what the hell is she doing? And then she stopped and she got up and she said, okay, thank you for the whatever it was she came over and borrowed. And she left. And by the time we saw her out the door and turned around to get my son, he was up and around and running around, no earache, no fever, no nothing. Gone that fast. She completely healed him inside of 5 minutes with just her hands and her language.
Wow.
First time I heard Tuda Speaks, first time I heard JJ on her channel, it was like, I recognize that language because that's what that woman spoke. It's that light language. You see people who speak in tongues get it. Um, it's like it's an angelic language is how it comes to me, that just comes through them, whether if it's from the angelic realm or from ETs or whatever. I don't know. I don't care. I just know it works, and I've seen it work with my own 2 eyes.
Cool. I was going to say, I want to just look at this one question, and then I'm going to do my drawing real quick for the free oil. And then I am going to, I've been having, my ankles have been swelling, lately. I've been on my feet a lot. So you guys, I might just have to keep it shorter this time because we're over our hours. So, but yeah, it sounds like you got a lot of interesting places there, Shari. I'd like to visit there someday
it's
again.
All over. It's everywhere. I love to go to the old graveyards. I like to just walk through them and look at the gravestones, the headstones, because it's not
my
just
daughter
Joe
liked it.
died. They tell a whole story on the headstones when you get into the old graveyards.
Joe said, what's the name? I'm going to ask this real quick, and then we're going to do the drawing. What's the name of the hunting, I believe, dogs famous from Louisiana? I had a neighbor here in Indiana who was from Louisiana, told me about the Zydeco, jambalaya, and gumbo seafood boils. What is it? Zydeco?
Yeah.
Jambalaya
Zydeco.
and gumbo.
It's music. Zydeco is music. It's a form of Cajun and Creole music. Jambalaya is a crawfish and rice dish that's made together.
My husband's
gumbo,
mother.
There's 2 different kinds of gumbo. There's Cajun gumbo, which is roux based, and there's Creole gumbo, which is tomato based. So one is more like a spaghetti sauce, and one is more like a stew. And they're 2 different kinds of gumbo. And some people like one and not the others. Most people like either one. They don't care.
Well, I'm going to try
boils,
this.
Shrimp boils, seafood. I mean, it's everywhere down here. It's very predominant. But yeah, a lot of good food, a lot of good eating.
Okay,
which
I'm
is
gonna
why
see if
I'm
I
as
can.
wide as I am tall.
I'm gonna see if I can try to do this this thing, Shari. You know how I that, what do you call it, the spinny wheel thing,
We're
the
trying.
Yeah,
giveaway.
yeah.
So you guys, I'm gonna do that real quick, and I'm gonna do it without you guys having to type manifest on. I'm gonna just give you guys a free oil of your choice, not the custom, but any other oil you can choose from my
What do we have to
website.
put in the
So
chat?
whoever wins,
What do we have
huh?
to? What do we have to?
They
What
don't have to put
hashtag did?
anything. I don't think.
I
I don't
thought you
think
had to
they
put
have
a
to put
hashtag
anything
in
if
there.
I don't want them to, do they?
I don't know.
Okay.
I thought you did, but
They have to. I don't think you do. Let me see. Okay, share screen. Share screen. Okay, I'm going to go to the giveaway wheel. I'm going to hit share. Okay, and I'm going to start collecting comments. And let's see if it does it. Okay, hold on. I did it wrong, did I? Okay, hold on here. Giveaway. Draw.
There you go.
okay. I thought you had to put something in there in order to win.
Anybody who made a comment is automatically entered.
Ah, okay. Oh, Sterling Rose is
Okay.
one.
Sterling, anybody who made a
Awesome.
comment. Yeah, Sterling Roses description. And I have hold on here. I have a phone number. You can go to the phone number. You can text me, or and the text number is in the description box, or you can go to my thing. I could give you the number, but it's 1-833-277-8105, or go here to my oops, I guess I got to do the share screen thing real quick. I'm going to go to share screen, and I'm just going to show you real quick. If you go here to my site, here it is. Can you guys see it?
Mm-hmm.
On your end?
Yeah.
Okay. So you just go here. These are some of the oils that I have, but if you want to just see them all, you just go to either to make their day, or you can hit shop all. And if you click that, this is going to come on. I got just added some new ones too. And here are some of the oils that you have to choose from. And if you want to know what they are, you just click on that and it'll show up. It'll tell you all about it. You can hit add to cart, and you just go ahead and text me, or you can text me, or you can on that number, or you can email me and let me know what oil you want. But it's better if you text me. So go down and get the phone number, text me, and then I will I'll get you a free oil. So you pick whichever one you want, and I'll send it to you, and leave me your email and your address. Or if you go to the site, you can sign up for the newsletter, and then that will put your email and address in my system. So if you ever do order something, I will have it and I can ship it to you. So anyway, congratulations, Sterling Roses. And I'm going to go ahead, and it's nice for you. Thank you for coming, Shari. And there's a lot. It just,
You're welcome. I didn't
I'd
even
like
get
to
to
do
the
long, but
Florida
I'm,
stories yet. So
oh, there's
I
more?
had a
You got
lot
more
more.
stories? Well,
Oh
we can
yeah,
just
I got
do
a
more.
lot more. I got a lot more. I only got to the first half of my life. There's more in the
Oh my
latter half
gosh.
of my life. So
Well, you have to do it
it's just a
again.
lot
So
to tell.
thank you for,
There you go.
yeah, I know. And we can't tell it all in an hour. There's so much. So,
Yeah,
but thank
no,
you everybody for coming. And I wanted to thank you, Tanya. Please
absolutely.
go to see Tanya and check out her channel. She's on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, Mondays and Wednesdays at 10:10. It took me forever to get this, but I got it now. And Fridays at 11:11. She does anything you want, political, personal questions. You want a personal reading, a mini read, go to her channel and she'll do it for
Yeah,
you.
if you
And
want a
she's
personal
really
reading, go
good.
to
And
Tanya. She's
if you
great.
need, yep. And if you want a personal reading from me, you can go to my website and book it, or you can go and text me and you can book a reading with me. I can send you an invoice if you want. I can tell you all about how I do them. And Tanya has bath bombs. She has clearing sprays. She has, I call it a mojo bag, but it's really it's a sachet. She has all these herbs and stuff in there for anything you can think of. And if you go to mine, if you want oil for any of those oils, you let me know and I'll make it up for you. I'm really quick about delivering them to you. If you don't know what you want, you can get a custom one and you just tell me what you need it for. I'll make it for you. And I do a combination of many different oils and different amounts depending on what the guides tell me. And if you don't know what you want or you're buying it for a friend and you don't know what they want or need, just tell me to have the guys pick, because they're very good at telling me what to pick, what crystals and what oils. So if you haven't seen them, they're just little bottles like this, and they have crystals in them and oils. And I love them, and I've got them for just everything, and I keep coming out with more. Eventually I'll have pendulums, tarot cards. And I love them. I love them. I was using them for me. I didn't intend to sell them.
I roller ball like between my fingers if I'm going to be using my pendulums and stuff, and then I'll just hold my pendulums and just kind of rub it on my pendulums, and I find I get much faster and more clearer.
I rub it on my third eye. I put it on my hands when I do the cards. So I inhale it. I do take it and run it across my pendulum, and it helps me, and it just makes it kind of a really nice scent in the room. And you can rub your desk, your altar, different things. So, well, guys, I better go. I promised my husband that I would.
They can email me. So,
yes. Email Shari. Go check her channel. Look at her new, her cool new, what is that called? A logo. It's really cool.
Yeah.
And she does political readings, and she does personal readings, and
whatever.
Yeah,
I'm available for anything.
So they email you if they need you, right? You got your email in your description box. I've got it in my description box.
Yep.
Okay. It's in my description box. It's in the chat, but just go to my description box and put in, click on these two ladies and go subscribe to their channel, help them out because they're awesome. And please subscribe to me too. I'd really appreciate it. It's free. And if you hit the little bell, then if you want to know when we're having shows in the future, then it'll tell you. If you haven't gotten any notifications and you hit the bell before, a lot of people they're getting unsubscribed for some reason. Go back and resubscribe.
The new algorithm is messing with people's subscriptions big time. So go in and double check all your subscriptions. Make sure you're still subscribed, and that you.
And we love you and we appreciate you. It means a lot that you take your time to spend it with us. And I love Fridays. I can't wait till Fridays is my favorite day of the week. So thank you. And we'll put in the comments for me and Tanya. What do you want to hear about next Friday? We need some ideas. I got some ideas. We have ideas, but because there's a lot. But if you have something that you want to hear
back and
us
talk about the Rougarou too. So that's our werewolf we got down here.
Well, we'll put that down. We'll put everybody put it down. Well, where you live, there's probably a lot of stories. So you guys just put it in the chat, and we will, or put it in the comments, leave a comment, and then we will put that on the list and we will talk about it. And I'll write that one down too, Rougarou. So, all right, you guys, I'm going to,
Rouga, Garougau.
Text it to me, would you?
I'll text it.
I'll
send it to you.
Okay. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Shari. Thank you, Tanya. And you guys have a good. You're welcome. I enjoyed listening to the stories. So I'll talk to you later. I better go. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Okay, I'm gonna hit